Roller coasters come in all shapes and sizes. Some are designed for speed, some for airtime, and some for sheer, unrelenting intensity. But then there's VelociCoaster, a ride that truly does it all. This is not just a launch coaster, not just a looping coaster, not just an immersive experience. It's a full-throttle pulse-pounding masterclass in ride design, seamlessly blending breakneck pacing, cutting-edge engineering, and cinematic theming to create what many consider to be one of the greatest roller coasters ever built. But how did we get here? How did Universal go from a family-friendly river adventure through a dinosaur park to one of the most aggressive and expertly designed thrill rides on the planet? What made Universal push the limits of coaster engineering to create something this relentless? And how did VelociCoaster not just meet expectations, but completely rewrite the rules for what a theme park attraction can be? Today we're diving deep into the history, the concept, the design, and the impact of VelociCoaster. From what stood here before to the legendary reputation the ride has built since its opening, we're covering it all. Every twist, every launch, every terrifying near-miss moment. Buckle up, because this is Turnstile Talk, and today we're breaking down VelociCoaster. To understand VelociCoaster, we first have to step back to what existed in its place before the first track was ever laid. The Jurassic Park sections of Islands of Adventure opened with the park in 1999, bringing to life the lush prehistoric setting of Steven Spielberg's 1993 blockbuster. At the time, the land was one of the most immersive and technologically advanced areas in the park, offering guests the chance to step into a real-life version of Jurassic Park through its highly themed environments and state-of-the-art attractions. The land's flagship attraction was Jurassic Park River Adventure, a scenic but suspenseful boat ride that took guests on a peaceful tour through dinosaur enclosures before descending into chaos. The ride climaxed in a dramatic 40-foot drop as riders narrowly escaped the jaws of a rampaging Tyrannosaurus Rex. Elsewhere in the land, guests could explore Triceratops Encounter, a walkthrough experience where they could interact with incredibly lifelike animatronic dinosaurs, or ride Pteranodon Flyers, a suspended family coaster that offered a gentle glide above Camp Jurassic. For years, the land remained relatively unchanged, even as Universal expanded and enhanced other sections of the park. By the early 2010s, however, Islands of Adventure had begun undergoing major transformations. The opening of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Hogsmeade in 2010 was a game changer, drawing unprecedented crowds and setting a new standard for immersive theming in theme parks. Meanwhile, Jurassic Park, once a crown jewel of the park, was starting to feel like a relic of the past. The franchise had been revived in cinemas with Jurassic World in 2015, reintroducing audiences to the world of dinosaurs with a sleek, modernized vision. While the new films were box office hits, the theme park land remained firmly rooted in the original 1993 aesthetic. Universal needed something fresh, something that would not only breathe new life into the land, but also bring an exhilarating new thrill ride to an already stacked lineup. Enter VelociCoaster. By the late 2010s, speculation was building that something major was coming to the Jurassic Park section of Islands of Adventure. Universal had already proven with the Wizarding World of Harry Potter that they were capable of completely transforming their lands into immersive, must-visit destinations. Meanwhile, their investment in high-speed thrill rides was evident with the addition of Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure in 2019. It was becoming increasingly clear that Jurassic Park, a land that had remained mostly unchanged since the park's 1999 opening, was the next logical area to receive a major overhaul. Now, early rumors were varied and conflicting. Some speculated that Universal would build a wood-and-steel hybrid coaster, perhaps a high-speed, terrain-hugging ride similar to Lightning Rod at Dollywood, or Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. Others believed that Universal would lean into its expertise with dark rides, creating a new trackless attraction that would blend practical sets, projection mapping, and motion-based ride technology. There was also speculation that the Jurassic Park branding would be entirely replaced by Jurassic World, similar to how Jurassic Park the Ride at Universal Studios Hollywood was rethemed to Jurassic World the Ride. However, despite all the theories, Universal remained tight-lipped. By 2018, though, it was clear that something big was happening. Large sections of land near Jurassic Park River Adventure were suddenly fenced off, and construction crews began clearing space at a rapid pace. Longtime visitors noticed subtle changes. Certain walkways were rerouted, and work walls with no clear explanation began appearing near the waterfront section of the land. Within months, the first real evidence of a roller coaster emerged. Track pieces began arriving at the park in 2019, and they weren't just any track pieces. The sleek, angular design suggested a launch coaster, a style that Universal had already experimented with on the Incredible Hulk coaster and more recently with Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. But unlike Hagrid's, this coaster was being built in a far more compact space, tightly intertwined with the existing Jurassic Park land. Yet, despite all of this happening in plain sight, Universal refused to acknowledge it. Even as towering coaster supports were bolted into place and full sections of track were completed, the company continued to avoid commenting on what was clearly the park's next big attraction. This was a rarity in the theme park world. Most parks at least confirm a ride once construction is well underway, but Universal kept its cards close to the chest. During this period of unofficial secrecy, fans and coaster enthusiasts did what they do best. They dissected every clue they could find. Aerial photographs taken by helicopter flyovers showed the track's layout forming a series of tight turns and airtime hills along the lagoon. The placement of the supports indicated that the coaster would feature at least one major launch, possibly more. Speculation exploded when track pieces were seen leading toward a massive vertical top hat element, a telltale sign that this wouldn't just be any launch coaster, but one that would pack serious height and speed. As construction continued through 2019 and into early 2020, details about the ride's theming began to emerge. It was clear that Universal wasn't just dropping a coaster into the land without context. Instead, the ride was being woven into the larger Jurassic World narrative, something that became even more obvious when massive rockwork structures resembling the raptor paddock from the film started taking shape. For many, this was a welcome sign that Universal was once again taking a storytelling-first approach to its attractions. Themed elements were appearing throughout the ride area, including what looked like reinforced steel cage structures and overhead catwalks, mimicking the security measures used to contain the raptors in Jurassic World. Even before any official announcement, it was clear that this coaster wasn't just about thrills. It was about immersion. Finally, on September 28, 2020, Universal made it official. In a surprise announcement, the company confirmed what everyone had already figured out. A brand new roller coaster was coming to Islands of Adventure, and it would be called VelociCoaster. Along with the announcement came the first real details about the ride's backstory and its place in the Jurassic World universe. From the start, Universal Creative made it clear that they didn't just want to build a great roller coaster. They wanted to create an experience that would feel like a natural extension of the Jurassic World franchise, something that would seamlessly blend the thrills of a world-class coaster with the immersion of a cinematic environment. The ride would take place within Jurassic World, where guests would be invited to participate in a new raptor paddock chase experience. The premise was simple. Owen Grady and Claire Deering had helped design a high-speed coaster that would allow guests to experience the thrill of racing alongside velociraptors. Except, in true Jurassic Park fashion, things would quickly spiral out of control. The narrative setup allowed Universal to justify the sheer speed and intensity of the coaster within the story's world. The idea that guests were inside an experimental raptor paddock gave creative freedom to the ride's chaotic, high-speed nature. Unlike other coasters that simply exist as a ride within a themed land, VelociCoaster was designed to be fully integrated into the lore of Jurassic World, making it feel like an authentic extension of the films. With the concept locked in, Universal turned to Intamin, one of the most respected roller coaster manufacturers in the world, to bring the vision to life. Known for their cutting-edge ride systems and groundbreaking coaster designs, Intamin was the perfect partner to execute Universal's ambitious plans. Now, Universal didn't just want to build a roller coaster. They wanted to set a new benchmark for high-speed thrill rides. The goal wasn't just to create a mechanically impressive coaster, but to blend that intensity seamlessly with cinematic storytelling and immersive world building. The result was a 155-foot tall, 4,700-foot long launch coaster, featuring a top speed of 70 miles per hour, 2 high-powered launches, 4 inversions, and some of the most aggressive airtime and high-speed maneuvers of any coaster in the world. But raw stats only tell part of the story. What makes VelociCoaster truly remarkable is how each element builds on the next, creating a ride experience that is relentless, unpredictable, and unlike anything else Universal has ever attempted. The first challenge was deciding how to incorporate such an intense roller coaster into a highly themed environment. Many theme park coasters are forced to make compromises between thrill factor and thematic immersion, often slowing down in key sections or breaking up their pacing within show scenes. Universal Creative and Intamin had no interest in doing that. Instead, they wanted VelociCoaster to be one continuous high adrenaline experience from the moment the train leaves the station until the final brake run. The ride wouldn't rely on dark ride elements or traditional pre-show moments. It would be pure, uninterrupted action. To achieve this, the track layout was meticulously designed to maximize speed and pacing, eliminating unnecessary slowdowns and ensuring that every moment on the ride felt dynamic. Unlike traditional launch coasters, which often have long stretches of straight track between elements, VelociCoaster was engineered to feel tight, aggressive, and unpredictable, with elements that flow directly into each other in a way that constantly disorients riders. One of the standout design choices was the decision to integrate the ride into the environment of Jurassic Park, rather than isolating it on its own island of theming. Instead of placing the coaster on a flat plot of land, Universal built around rockwork, waterfalls, raptor enclosures, and jungle foliage, ensuring that every twist and turn felt like it belonged in the world of Jurassic World. The result is a coaster that feels like it's tearing through a real raptor paddock, rather than just a collection of track supports placed in an empty field. But beyond the layout and theming, the most important part of VelociCoaster was its ride experience. From the moment guests board the ride vehicles, it becomes clear that this is something different. The adventure begins as guests board their sleek, raptor-themed coaster trains, designed to resemble high-speed transport vehicles from Jurassic World. The station itself is minimalist, but high-tech, filled with flashing hazard lights, digital screens, and the ominous sounds of raptors snarling in the background. Before the ride even launches, riders are already immersed in the tension of the paddock. Then, without warning, the first launch engages. In just a matter of seconds, the train explodes out of the station, accelerating from 0 to 50 miles per hour almost instantly. Riders are immediately thrown into a twisted mess of track, weaving through narrow rockwork canyons and raptor enclosures. The train darts through tight overbanked turns, rapid transitions, and near-miss elements, creating the sensation that the raptors are hot on your heels, darting through the environment as you try to escape. Each turn feels deliberate. There's no time to process what's happening before the train is already diving into the next element. One moment, riders are tilted sideways through a tight overbank. The next, they're experiencing a quick pop of ejector airtime, only to be immediately thrown into a sudden direction change. Unlike traditional coasters that have predictable hills and loops, VelociCoaster moves in erratic raptor-like bursts, simulating the chaos of an out-of-control chase. Now, just as the first half of the ride reaches its climax, the train enters a short tunnel, where riders are given less than a second to catch their breath before the real madness begins. A second launch kicks in, this time even more powerful than the first, hurling the train from 40 to 70 miles per hour in just 2.4 seconds. The acceleration is violent and immediate, pressing riders deep into their seats as the train surges toward the most intimidating element of the ride, the 155-foot-tall top hat. Ascending the top hat, riders experience an intense moment of weightlessness, cresting the peak before plunging down a near vertical 140-foot drop. The drop is designed to deliver strong ejector airtime, meaning riders are completely lifted out of their seats for several seconds before plunging back down toward the lagoon. It's a sensation that is as thrilling as it is terrifying, and it sets the tone for the chaotic second half of the ride. As soon as the train pulls out of the drop, the ride becomes a relentless barrage of airtime, inversions, and rapid transitions. Wave turns send riders tilted nearly sideways while still experiencing extreme airtime. A whiplash-inducing corkscrew inversion throws riders upside down in a way that feels completely out of control. And then comes VelociCoaster's most infamous element, the Mosasaurus Roll. This inversion, which takes place just inches above the lagoon's surface, is a high-speed heartline roll that whips riders upside down with incredible force. It is one of the most aggressive and visually stunning inversions ever designed, creating a breathtaking near-miss effect as riders feel like they're skimming across the water's surface. The roll is so tight and fast that it creates a true moment of weightlessness, where riders feel completely unrestrained as they are flipped upside down and back again. By the time the train finally reaches the brake run, most riders are left breathless and in shock at what they just experienced. In just over a minute and a half, VelociCoaster has delivered one of the most intense, perfectly paced coaster layouts ever conceived. Now, one of the most revolutionary aspects of VelociCoaster is the fact that it achieves all of this without over-the-shoulder restraints. Instead of the typical bulky harnesses found on most high-speed launch coasters, VelociCoaster actually uses sleek, minimalist lap bars, allowing for a level of freedom almost unheard of on a ride of this intensity. This design choice was intentional, meant to enhance the feeling of danger and exposure. Without bulky restraints pressing against the shoulders, riders feel completely unrestrained, making the ejector airtime and rapid inversions even more exhilarating. The lap bars also help with comfort, ensuring that riders don't experience the typical headbanging or restraint discomfort often associated with high-intensity coasters. Thanks to Intamin's precision track design, the ride is almost butter smooth, eliminating the kind of roughness that can sometimes plague extreme thrill coasters. Every transition feels fluid and natural, allowing the ride to maintain its aggressive pacing without sacrificing comfort. Now, when VelociCoaster finally opened for previews in June 2021, anticipation had reached an all-time high. Fans had been watching the coaster's construction for over 2 years, analyzing every element, predicting every moment of airtime, and speculating on just how intense the ride would be. The expectations were sky high, but Universal didn't just meet those expectations, they shattered them. From the very first test rides, it became clear that Universal and Intamin had created something extraordinary. The ride delivered everything it promised: relentless speed, breathtaking inversions, and an unrivaled sense of freedom thanks to its lap bar only restraint system. Even the most seasoned coaster enthusiasts were stunned by the sheer perfection of the ride's pacing, with many immediately proclaiming it one of the greatest roller coasters ever built. For coaster enthusiasts, VelociCoaster checked every possible box. The launches were powerful and immediate, the top hat provided breathtaking ejector airtime, the Mosasaurus Roll left even the most jaded coaster fans speechless, delivering an insane moment of weightlessness that felt completely out of control. The queue experience was another major highlight. Universal had already raised the bar for queue theming with Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, but VelociCoaster took it to another level. The Raptor paddock section of the queue, complete with glass enclosures that housed life-sized animatronic velociraptors, was a show-stopping moment that immersed guests in the world of Jurassic World before they even boarded the ride. Once VelociCoaster officially opened, its reputation as one of the best thrill rides in the world was cemented almost immediately. It wasn't just enthusiasts and thrill seekers who were singing its praises. Industry professionals also took notice. The ride quickly began collecting major industry awards, including the Golden Ticket Award for Best New Attraction in 2021. It also consistently ranked among the top roller coasters in the world in roller coaster polls, often placing in the top 3 alongside legendary rides like Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point and Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa. Beyond awards and rankings, VelociCoaster became something even more significant. It became a destination ride. Fans from around the world traveled specifically to Universal Orlando just to experience it, often planning entire trips around the opportunity to ride what many were calling the best new coaster of the decade. Even today, years after its opening, VelociCoaster continues to be one of the most in-demand attractions at Islands of Adventure. It remains one of the few rides that regularly commands long wait times from open to close, despite its high capacity and fast-moving queue. Many guests consider it the single best roller coaster in Florida, and some even argue that it's the greatest roller coaster ever built. So at the end of the day, what makes VelociCoaster truly special? It's not just the speed, the launches, the sheer intensity, though all those elements are undeniably incredible. It's the way everything comes together. The way every second of the ride is designed to push you, thrill you, and immerse you in an experience that feels like it could only exist at Universal Orlando. This is not just another coaster. This is a ride that redefines what a theme park attraction can be. It doesn't just exist inside a world, it is the world. The story, the engineering, the theming, the layout, it just all works together to create something that feels alive. A ride that moves with purpose and never lets up until you hit that final brake run. Even then, your heart is still racing. For decades, theme parks have been trying to find the perfect balance between storytelling and thrills, and VelociCoaster might just be the closest anyone has ever gotten. It doesn't compromise, and it doesn't hold back. It doesn't force you to choose between an immersive world and a world-class thrill ride. It gives you both at the highest level imaginable. Years from now, when we talk about the greatest roller coasters ever built, VelociCoaster will still be in the conversation. It's already cemented itself as one of the most intense, well-paced, and beautifully designed roller coasters in the world. And honestly, it might be one of the best things Universal has ever created. So whether you're a die-hard coaster enthusiast or just someone looking for the most exhilarating ride of your life, VelociCoaster is an absolute must. It's fast, aggressive, cinematic. It's pure, unfiltered adrenaline wrapped in some of the best theming you'll find anywhere. It's a masterpiece of modern thrill ride design, a benchmark for future coasters, and honestly, one of the most incredible experiences in theme park history. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you guys think that VelociCoaster is one of the best coasters or one of the best attractions in the entire world? Do you think it's overrated? What do you guys think works best with this, in my opinion, incredible ride? I want to thank you all again for listening, and until next time, this has been Turnstile Talk. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.